What's going on? Welcome to the 2021 edition of the Off the Schneid preview series, where I'll be going over all 32 NFL teams, breaking down their roster, schedule, giving you a record prediction, as well as helping out with some betting tips. If this is your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button, and if you like what you hear, go ahead and smash that like button as well. Don't forget to check the description for links for the Off the Schneid social media and interact with me directly. I want to give a massive shout out to OurLads Scouting Services and OurLads.com, as all roster and depth chart graphics are straight off their site. If you've never been, go check them out immediately. I use their site for all NFL, fantasy, and betting purposes, and there's a link in the description for their site. Again, do me a huge favor and hit that like and subscribe button, but enough of that, let's get to your favorite NFL football preview. All right, we're taking a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, last year's worst team in the league. First overall selection in the NFL draft. They grab Trevor Lawrence, obviously, unless you've been living under a rock. Trevor Lawrence is going to be their guy. He's the present and the future at quarterback for the Jags. The interesting thing will be what happens with the backup quarterback situation. They brought in CJ Beathard, obviously. Jake Luton was their 6th round pick last year. He's still there. And Gardner Minshew is still their 6th round pick in 2019. If I'm a team like the Washington football team, I've said this a few times, if I'm a team like the Washington football team, I fire off a 3rd round pick to the Jags and see if that buys them, kind of a thing. The Jags certainly don't need him, but he's extremely cheap. And, there's no real need to trade a guy that could come back and bite you in the butt, kind of thing. He's only 24 years old, I believe. 25 now, 25 years old. He can definitely still be a franchise quarterback for someone. And it's not going to be the Jags. So, why not get some draft capital out of him while you still can, kind of a thing. Because he's going to walk, obviously. He's not going to, he's going to want to get a shot. It's not like he fell flat on his face and completely pooped his pants as a starting quarterback. Last year's quarterback numbers were roughly just about 4,000 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 16 picks, 44 sacks, which is way too many. And Gardner Minshew was head and shoulders the best quarterback on this team. As far as Trevor Lawrence's numbers are concerned, I could see his rookie year being right around where that was last year. So all things realistically, I figure, all things probably remain the same in the passing game, more or less. Probably less interceptions, but yards and touchdowns wise, it's probably going to be pretty close. Move over to the running back position. This is what I think they're going to run the ball a lot more under Urban Meyer and Darrell Bevell, but Urban Meyer, for the most part. James Robinson's obviously back, 1,000-yard receiver, 240 carries in 14 games. He was the bell cow last year. That's not going to be the same this year. Travis Etienne comes in, 1st round pick as well. He's definitely going to get his touches. I could see him, getting roughly in that 12 to 14 touches total per game. And similar with James Robinson. And obviously I think Etienne gets more receptions and more targets in the passing game, might play a little bit in the slot as well. But James Robinson is going to carry the ball a lot more and get those goal line carries, I believe. We'll see how that kind of works out. Carlos Hyde is there as well. In my opinion, obviously Urban Meyer guy, safety blanket kind of a guy, depth guy, that kind of a thing. Dario Ogunbowale probably rounds out that running back room as the running back 4 and just a pass catching option. Maybe can return punts and kicks, or punts and or kicks, something like that. We'll see how that kind of shakes out. Move over to the tight end position. Chris Manhertz, Luke Farrell, James O'Shaughnessy, and then the elephant in the room, Tim Tebow. Who's going to start? Who's going to play? We're going to see if Tim Tebow can even still realistically play football at an NFL level at a different position that he played in college and in the pros. We'll see, and I'm interested to see how it works out. I'm interested to see him play in the preseason. James O'Shaughnessy is almost guaranteed a roster spot. Luke Farrell's almost guaranteed a roster spot. Supposedly they like Chris Mannertz, and then it's probably going to be Tim Tebow riding that out. Again, Urban Meyer makes sense. Give him a shot. You never know. Like, realistically, Tim Tebow could be a very good tight end. They wanted him to move to tight end back when he was, a quarterback. That never came to fruition, never happened. He always wanted to be a quarterback. I kind of wish he would have made this decision in his, later 20s even, instead of, middling around with baseball and not making that much of a thing. But either way, here we are. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he even makes his team. We'll see if he plays. I'm interested to see him play in the preseason. We'll take it from there. Wide receivers, DJ Chark had definitely an off year last year. We'll see if he can get back to his 2019 form where he was, I believe, a Pro Bowler and a 1,000-yard receiver. Marvin Jones comes in, good quality vet from, used to be a Bengal, Detroit Lion. Here we are in Jacksonville now. Like I said, good quality vet to bring in. Like, it's not going to hurt anything. And big touchdown threat, that kind of a thing. I don't mind Marvin Jones at all coming in. Laviska Shenault is kind of the gadget guy a little bit. Might run the ball a little bit. Probably play a little bit out of the slot, that kind of a thing. He's definitely the speed guy of the bunch, kind of a thing. But we'll see how it all shakes out. Like, realistically, I'm interested to see how this offense functions and how it looks. Like I said earlier, I could see Travis Etienne playing a little bit in the slot. A guy that I really like on this offense is Colin Johnson. Really like him. Last year, rookie season, had 272 yards, 2 touchdowns with 18 receptions in very, very limited use, obviously. So if he gets a little bit of an uptick in playing time, he's 6'6", big guy. I thought there was potential he might move to tight end. I'm still not completely, taking that off the table. I think that there is a bit of a shift in, not a shift, but there's almost a new position taking form right now. Kyle Pitts, even Dan Arnold, Jacob Harris from the Rams, maybe a guy like Colin Johnson, these big guys, former wide receivers, 6'5", 6'6", two high 220s, 230s, in and around there, athletic guys that can move, mismatch nightmares, that kind of a thing. I'm not sure if that's going to be kind of how it works out with Colin Johnson here, but there's that potential. He has the potential to be that guy for this offense, if that makes sense. Offensive line is in a pretty good spot. There's just been continuity on this O-line, which is definitely a good thing. As far as sacks allowed, they're obviously pretty high up there, so they definitely need to do a better job of protecting Trevor Lawrence. I think they're probably going to be pretty much the same. There's no young guy that's going to take that step, kind of a thing. They're all vets. They've all been there however long. They just have to be better. That's all it kind of boils down to. They just have to be better. Walker Little comes in as a second-round pick. Very good draft pick. He had some injury history, I believe, out of Stanford. Again, I believe. But he could be one of those guys. I think Cam Robinson is on the franchise tag right now, I believe. I could be wrong on that one. But I believe he's on the franchise tag. So potentially Walker Little is the left tackle of the future here. But realistically, it's pretty set right now. There's not a crazy amount of depth. I do like Walker Little, like I said. Ben Barch is a guy that can be an interior guy. But I think we're going to see some turnover in the Jacksonville offensive line. And I think they needed to get out ahead of that a little more in the draft. Like a 5th round pick. Luke Farrell was not necessary realistically. Andre Sisco was not needed necessarily. Jordan Smith, they could have used that draft capital to, start the turnover process on that offensive line, because it's going to happen, and it's going to happen fairly quickly, especially if Cam Robinson doesn't re-sign here. Those interior line guys are overpaid, and, contracts are coming to a close, that kind of thing, and they're getting older. So there you go. We'll see how it works out. I'm interested to see how this offense functions. I really am. We'll move over to the defensive side of the ball. Joe Cullen comes in, and I see this absolutely turning over to a 3-4 defense, which fits what they have. So it is a good decision. It is a good move to go that route. On the line, I think it'll look like this: Jihad Ward, Taven Bryan, and Davon Hamilton as your, starting 3-4 line, with Malcolm Brown in there as well as a nose tackle. They got Adam Gotsis as well, drafted Jay Tufele in the 4th round. He's there as well, obviously. I think that's fairly quality, realistically, as far as the 3-4 defense looks. That's fairly quality, if you ask me. And then it allows their pass rushers to do, to probably be a little more comfortable, in my opinion. This defense in 2020, they had 18 sacks. 18 sacks. In 2019, Josh Allen and Yannick Ngakoue combined for over 18 and a half sacks, actually. So they need to get back to that, and they're not that far removed. Like I said, I think they can get back to that fairly quickly with Dwayne Smoot, Kayvon Chason playing a more comfortable role as like I said, 3-4 outside linebacker, and Josh Allen just needs to get healthy, get back at it. Former double-digit sack guy in his rookie season as well. Fell off last year, but the whole defense, the whole team realistically fell apart last year. So I think that's the right move to make this defense, the best it can be, kind of a thing. As far as the linebackers are concerned, Joe Schobert and Miles Jack are fantastic. Those two will be the guys, especially in that type of a defense, right? Damian Wilson isn't nothing wrong there, quality vet. Shaq Quarterman I really liked last year as a 4th round pick. Even Quincy Williams, I like him a fair bit. So they're fine as far as linebackers are concerned if they're playing 3-2, whatever it is, inside linebackers type of thing. So I'm okay with that completely. The back end of the defense, they've done a pretty good job. I mean, they've kind of struggled, but they've done a good job to do what they can to make them successful, and they should be better. Trey Herndon's still there. CJ Henderson, their 1st round pick last year, is obviously still there and playing well, improving. Shaq Griffin comes in from the Seattle Seahawks. That's a good get there. 2nd round pick, Tyson Campbell from Georgia comes in. Very good pick there. I think I had him as a 1st round pick, and they got him in the 2nd, so that's good value. Sidney Jones is still there. Chris Claybrooks is still there. Safeties, they just got a bunch of guys. With safety, in my opinion, and even at corner, to be honest with you, it's just, let the guys play, let them get the reps, go through preseason, and put the best guys out there. That's what you got to do. Like Rudy Ford, Andrew Wingard, Andre Sisco, Daniel Thomas. They paid a bunch of money to Rayshon Jenkins. They still got Josh Jones. Jared Wilson comes in. They got a lot of guys that have NFL experience, have played, draft capital, all that kind of stuff. So, especially at safety, just let the guys get the reps, see who the best guys are, and put them out there every Sunday. Like I said, they need to do a better job of getting after the quarterback. I'm just not so sure they quite get there this year. They might be able, if that back end plays the way that I think that it could, they might be able to get a few more coverage sacks. And, Kayvon Chason needs to take that step. Josh Allen needs to get back to where he was. I really like Dwayne Smoot. I think he's a little bit underrated. Led this team in sacks last year with only 5.5, but still, there's a lot to like. There's a lot to like with the Jags, I think. They're an improving team, especially on defense. I like what they have on defense. I like the pieces that they have. I'm concerned about the offensive line moving forward. That's my biggest concern about this team in general. And realistically, they're going to need, probably need another weapon at wide receiver or tight end, whichever kind of works out, but they're not going to address that until at least next offseason or the draft or both. We'll see. But there you go. Let's move over to the record prediction and see what I got for them in 2021. So there you go. You see the low, high, my there. 4-13 on the low side, 5-12 on the high. Or sorry, my prediction is 5-12. High side 7-10. In order for them to be 7-10, I don't think that there's realistically any potential that they're going to be a winning team this year. I do like the direction that they're going. I do like a lot of the players on the Jags, but rookie quarterback, defense struggled to get after the quarterback, and that is obviously, I've said it on every single one of these, you need to protect your quarterback, get after the opponents. They did not do a good job at either last year, and I don't particularly think that changes and they like improve an extreme amount on that this year. So I couldn't realistically give them much more than what I did. As far as the division is concerned, obviously it's a two-headed race. It's between the Colts and the Titans, and that's it. The Jags and the Texans are not going to have a shot at this division, not yet at least. So realistically, if you're going to throw a dart on either of those teams, you're basically just burning money, which, you know, sometimes people do. It is what it is. So I've done it. So there you go. But I just don't think that they're going to be able to quite get there. I think that, you know, they're going to want to just progress in a, you know, reasonable manner, you know, like speed wise, it's not going to happen in one season. You know, it's not like the Chargers, you know what I mean? With Justin Herbert, they're Justin Herbert and then, fifth overall. Justin Herbert comes in, they're almost 500. I have them going to the playoffs this year. That's not really going to happen for the Jags. They're going to have to turn over that offensive line and, you know, add some weapons. Defense is going to have to play better, add some playmakers on defense, all that kind of stuff. So there you go. That's what I have projected for them. Let's plow through the schedule here. I don't want to take up too much time because this is not, you know, a crazy good team, if I'm being honest. Week 1 on the road against the Houston Texans. I think that that's a winnable game because Houston is not a good team. So we'll see. Like, realistically, that's a game that they're really going to want to win. Obviously, you know, fans in the stands, but I can't imagine that they're going to be crazy rabid in Houston with the team that they're going to be trotting out there, if I'm being honest. So winnable game. Do they get it? I don't know. Low, high, my, not a huge concern. At home against the Denver Broncos. Broncos are a better team. They're going to get that win. Arizona Cardinals at home. Cardinals are a better team. They're going to get that win. They are going to be weak against the pass, in my opinion. But is Trevor Lawrence and these wide receivers going to be able to just throw all over the yard on Arizona? I don't think so, especially when they're going to be very good at running the ball, and that's what I think the Jags are going to have to try to be good at, is running the ball. Not that they, you know, will be, or I'm saying they will be. That's just what I think they're going to have to try to be good at. On the road against my Cincinnati Bengals, I haven't picked my Bengals to win too many games on these things, but I think that's a win that they absolutely get. You know, short week at home, you know, Thursday night game. I think the Cincinnati Bengals get that win. At home against the Tennessee Titans, I think the Titans probably sweep this team. They're a very good team this year, I think, and underrated defensively. So I think the Titans get that win. At home against the Miami Dolphins, I think the Dolphins come in and get that win. They just have a much better defense and it's actually a fairly comparable offense. So I think they can come in and get that win. Way better. The defense is going to be the what wins the Dolphins that game. By week 7, that's actually good. It's actually good to have they have a young team. So to have an early bye week, that's probably for the best, to be honest with you. The young guys can catch their breath. Maybe they have 1 or 2 wins, something like that before the bye. You know, catch your breath, you know, reassess the situation, watch tape, blah, 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 rest, all that kind of stuff. It's a good spot to have your bye, in my opinion. Week 8 on Halloween on the road against Seattle. It's an extreme difference in time and distance. I think that Seattle absolutely gets that win. At home against the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills absolutely come in and beat up the Jags. On the road against the Indianapolis Colts. Good possibility the Colts and the Titans sweep the Jags this year. And the Texans. So this isn't the worst team in this division. I'll say that. At home against the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers are just too good of a team for the Jags to compete with. The Niners get that win. At home against the Atlanta Falcons, that should be an interesting one. One that I think that the Falcons come in and win, just because in a shootout in the NFL, rookie Trevor Lawrence versus Matty Ice, I'm taking Matt Ryan. I mean, the defense is pretty weak for the Falcons, but I just think that unless that secondary is playing just out of their mind for the Jags, I think that the Falcons are going to be able to get that win. I really do, but we'll see. That's a winnable game. Again, low, high, my on that one, or my and low realistically. So there you go. On the road against the Rams, they're not beating the LA Rams, especially on the road. on the road against the Tennessee Titans. They are definitely not beating the Titans on the road. They have a better shot at home, but I think they get swept there. At home against the Houston Texans, I absolutely give them that win at that point in the season. Especially at home, the Jags beat the Houston Texans right there. On the road against the New York Jets, that's another winnable game. Even though it's on the road, similar teams in similar spots. Obviously, first and second overall. That's a very winnable game, and one that I think they can get. They absolutely can get that win. I actually think that they will. I did project them to get that win. So there you go. I think they can beat the Jets even on the road. On the road against the New England Patriots, the Patriots defense is going to be too good for this team, and they're going to end up getting that win. And then finish out the season at home against the Indianapolis Colts. Unless for whatever reason the Colts are sitting, guys, whether they've, locked up definitely they're not going to be first overall and getting that first round bye. But if they've locked into their playoff spot kind of thing, like if they're 5th, 6th, whatever, 7th even, if they've locked into their playoff spot, they might sit guys. And then the Jags might have a shot at home. That's the only way. If the Colts need that win, they're going to get that win. You know what I mean? If they're playing everybody and they need to win that game to get to the playoffs or to move whatever it is, they're going to win that game. So there you go. Short and sweet. I don't know. Maybe it should have been shorter, but let me know what you think in the comments. I think it's going to be a rough year for the Jags. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the league again. I think they absolutely will improve. And I think it's worth keeping an eye on how this offense functions, and then you'll see where your holes are. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're going to need a tight end and probably a wide receiver, probably both, like I said. But you have to, let it function and then see where your holes are. That's kind of going to be the interesting thing for me to watch with the Jags. But there you go. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments. There's your breakdown for the 2021 Jacksonville Jaguars.